So glad you are with us again on Elevate Your Wealth. Brad Johansson with Mark Stimpson, Casey Elkins. Elevated financial management. It is a joy for me to share the stage with you guys on this. I love being with you. Nice to be back. Yeah, everybody good?
Doing great.
Doing good. Yeah, we're good. Glad to be here with you,
You
Brad.
seem questioning on that, Mark. Are you good?
No, it is good.
You're good. All
We're
right.
very good. Wow. Glad to be here talking to our viewers and looking forward to this show very, very much.
I'm going to jump around, and I'm not meaning that for musical play now. We're going to jump around because the way the economy is right now, the way your world is right now, it is jumping around, and we're trying to figure all of this out. We're going to cover a lot of things today, so I don't want you to walk away and miss this. Here's what I don't want you to miss as well, is what we've put together on the book. Break the Glass. It is fireproofing your retirement. The guys have put this together, so breaktheglassbook.com. Why do you mention this right off the top, Brad? Because it's yours free. If we can educate and get you in a mode where you understand what you're working towards, that's what we want. So scan the QR code. You want us to send it out, we'll ship it to you for free. breaktheglassbook.com. You go to the website, you scan the code. That's the easiest way. Just scan the code right now. We'll send it out for free. Tell you what, I'll leave this up for you as we continue to jump around. Here's where I'm going to jump first, guys. BlackRock is warning that investing in the S&P 500 is not enough for the retirement that you want. They recommend a strategy that prioritizes income. You gentlemen have been preaching this for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
BlackRock's kind of big. They
Just
have a
little bit.
little credibility.
Yeah.
Why is switching off market? Because that's what we've been told. Just stay in the market, stay in the market, stay in the market. We've accumulated. Why is BlackRock warning us right now that what you guys have been talking about for years is the way that we should be going?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that. And, you really highlighted something there. In the title of the article, it says that investing in the S&P 500 isn't enough for retirement, right? That's really the big difference here is the accumulation. So when we're building and saving, when we're building and saving for retirement, the thing that made us successful of building those assets is not the same type of investing that keeps us successful once we move into retirement.
Which is what you've been saying.
Right. It's so different. And like you said, BlackRock, I mean, they must know something, right? Largest money manager in the world. Yes. Their asset level just continues to go up and up year after year. And they're bringing this out. And I'm glad that they are, because this is why we do the TV show. This is why we have our radio show in Seattle, why we teach at the local colleges. The reason that we've written Break the Glass book, it all comes back to education so that people know what to be on the lookout for so they can safeguard themselves, safeguard their assets, and create the retirement that they want. And having that income, instead of looking for maximum appreciation on the assets, having the income in retirement is what gives you freedom. That's what gives you the ability to go do what you want to do. And you're right, we beat that drum every single time that we're here because that's what we truly believe, and that's what we've seen work for our clients. The people that have the income go and live their lives and they enjoy it.
If you've been living under a rock that is not BlackRock, BlackRock manages $14 trillion globally, $5 trillion in ETF assets through the iShares platform. So what they're saying is, hey, we've had a run. Goodness gracious, Mark, we like recency bias when it's working for us.
Right.
The market's been working for us. Shoot, I mean, if we're going to go over 15 years, the market's been working for us.
Yep.
These guys that manage 14 trillion globally are saying not exactly all that you need right now. So talk to me about safe income. If they're saying, we got to be careful on this recency bias. What do we need to shift towards?
You know, I'm glad this has come up, and I'm glad they're beating the drum about this, right? It's so glad to see companies of this magnitude like BlackRock, Fidelity, saying the exact same thing, that you've got to begin to turn to income once we get close to retirement, right? And what I love, too, about this article, the one thing that BlackRock is truly concerned about right now is over concentration. And we know how many clients have come in and have had huge stock positions with Microsoft, Costco and what they in indexing has been, like you said, Brad, it's been going crazy for 15 years.
We had a great run.
But if you are going to risk guaranteed income using stocks and bonds, that can be a problem. And that's what they're trying to highlight. We need to be finding ways to create guaranteed income. And I know with Casey, that for us, we keep it pretty simple in our office. We have a red bucket, a green bucket, and a yellow bucket. And the yellow bucket is liquidity, our bank money. Our green bucket is our income. And today, one of the biggest issues, most people, pensions are gone unless you work for the federal government or
12% of America right now.
yeah,
left with
exactly.
pensions.
So close to 90% no pension anymore, right? And then, of course, we've got the yellow bucket. That's our liquidity. That's our checking and savings. And so, again, you need to have a plan. And we agree 100%. We were banging the drum about income and need for stability in that regard way before BlackRock came up with this. We've been doing it from the very beginning. Because for us, our plan really does start with the green bucket. You've got to have guaranteed income. Then we can, and liquidity too, the yellow bucket. We make sure our clients have enough in that bucket as well. The red bucket, we want to help us deal with inflation, long-term growth. But income has got to be secured. And that's basically exactly what BlackRock and Fidelity are telling us right now.
If this is what we're saying, Casey, and coming in, and we're telling people you may need a second opinion, what does it look like to walk in and say, hey guys, I heard what you said. I got all my stuff in the market. You got a solution for me? Is there a simple in-first meeting where we say, here's how we need to adjust?
Yeah, that's a great question. And really, we start every meeting the same way. It's about what you want to do. So we're not going to have a hot stock tip for you or some exciting new investment. That's not what this is about. It's about goals. So what do you want to do in your retirement? What is the purpose? What other income sources do you already have? What do the assets look like? And then that's when we work together to build a plan. We don't do anything until we're informed about the investments and we make recommendations from an informed position. And I'll give you an example. This ties in so well with what we're talking about and the need for income. So I had a woman come in. She listened to our radio show for quite some time. She called. She came in to see us.
Do me a favor before you finish that, because people are going, radio show, I don't know. Tell me where they can catch you on the radio.
So we're on 97.3 on Saturdays at 11 a.m. We're also on 97.7 Saturdays in the afternoon at 1 o'clock and Sunday mornings at 11 as well. And you can also find it in a podcast on our website, which is elevatedfinancialmanagement.com. If you go there, you can see the TV show, you can see the radio show, you can get a copy of the book. There's lots of great information there. Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, I apologize for the interruption. I think people need to know. So
Absolutely.
Continue with your story.
So she came in to see us. She heard us on the radio, and she'd been retired for a few years at this point, and really was actually on an okay path.
Okay.
She had a nice savings, but when we started talking about what she wanted to do in retirement, things like that, what I come to realize is that she wasn't really out living her life in retirement. And what she had done was she's just taking Social Security. She's not taking any distributions from the assets that she worked so hard to build. And she had saved well. So what I found for her, and this is what we see all the time, is people pare their lives down to the income that they have. And so if we work hard to do exactly what BlackRock is talking about, what we've been talking about for years, to create that income source for folks in retirement, that's what gives people the ability to go spend and the confidence to do it. And that's the key.
This is simple, and yet it's constant in what we talk about here, is that we want to give you permission to spend your money.
Yeah.
And you seem to feel like you need permission because you haven't gotten the advice from somebody who's looking out for you. BreakTheGlassBook.com. Scan this, because this will provide you with an education. We'll send it to you for free. Scan the code, be able to do that. But in coming in, someone listened to a radio show, retired for 3 years or so, just living off this. When they had this, at what point would you like to live out your retirement of your dreams? How about making the call? 844-342-7142. Maybe it is just time for a second opinion. Am I doing it the right way? Do I know what I have? Do I know what I can spend? Do I know it's going to last till my last breath? 844-342-7142. Make the call. Lots more to talk about. Be right back.
The big box firms, I think a lot of the folks that work there are really good people, and I think that they really want to have a positive impact on their clients, which is commendable. But what I really wanted to make sure was that nobody dictated to me what could be provided to my clients.
We do true emotional planning and true retirement planning, knowing that you're retiring from a company you've worked for 30 or 40 years. Now you're retiring. We want them to retire to something else.
It's very, very important that at Elevated Financial Management, the people that dictate what investments we use and how we structure investment plans are me and Mark. That's it.
When they come in, they're getting a service and they're getting things set up for them that these big box stores can't even come close to doing.
Is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks today.
Well, my investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the 4th worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. Call now for your own complimentary portfolio review and written financial plan.
So glad you're with us on Elevate Your Wealth. Brad Johansson along with Mark and Casey, and we're kind of jumping all over the board. So we talked about what BlackRock said, that maybe it's time not to get out of the market, to add to what your retirement plan is going to be with safe money and with income guaranteed. How much do we have? You've always been asked that. What's the number that I need to retire? So I've got a little study here. How long will $1 million last in retirement in every state? We've gone through this. This is Go Banking Rates editorial team putting this together, guys. So this is old, but I'm sorry, it still exists in the minds of most people. Mm-hmm. I need $1 million to retire.
Yeah. That's the number we hear all the time, right? And what we're going to say to that, Brad, is it depends. That may be enough in a lot of states. In fact, I picked on Brad's state. How long would $1 million last in Brad's state? That of Ohio. And they came almost right in the middle of all 50 states. They came in number 20, that was pretty good.
So how long would that last?
A little over 17 years.
17 years?
17 years. But
if I'm just taking withdrawals.
Yes, there was no growth. So we want to make sure people listening understand that. That's no growth, just with a standard drawdown rate and no growth. How long would it last? Ohio was 20. Now we know, if you watch our show, we're in Seattle, right? Seattle doubled that. We were number 41 out of 50 states, meaning the higher you are on the list, the lower amount of years $1 million is going to last. We were a little over 14 years. Mm-hmm. You were like at 17 and now. Now, if you live in Hawaii, it's going to last you about 9 years, a little over 9 years. So you can see cost of living matters on this, right? And so if you don't have a plan to figure this out and you live in high expensive areas, and then we haven't even brought up inflation, right? These would affect those numbers too. So again, we just want our viewers to know that these are the type of things that we look at with our clients and try and help them put together a model or a plan that's going to deal with this. But $1 million easily may or may not provide the retirement of your dreams. You may think it's the magic number, but we would tell you not necessarily.
You know what I appreciate about this article is that it's not factoring any growth in that $1 million. And that might sound like kind of a weird thing to appreciate when it comes to this type of study. But the reason I value that is because the studies that say, oh, well, if you average a 5% growth on your investments, then it'll last this long. What they don't take into account is, well, what if I lose 30% to a market downturn? That's never part of the conversation, right? But that's a reality.
It's a reality.
It is, and it's something that we have to be prepared for. And so if we get rid of both of those things, this really highlights that $1 million is not the number that it once was, not only because of inflation, but it has a big impact just because of where we're at in Seattle. Just to make everybody in Seattle feel a little bit better, as Mark was mentioning, Hawaii's 50 on this, which is the place you don't want to be. And housing in Hawaii is more than double the annual expenditure that it is in Seattle. So that right there is a huge number, but still Seattle, Washington is 41 on this list.
Okay, so we're teasing people, so I'll go your top 5. Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia, Kansas. Mm-hmm. Who wants to move to all of those spots? This is where it lasts because this is cheaper spots to live. Here's what I think is a misnomer to even start the whole thing, which is what I began with. Why are we playing with a number that really isn't real? Mm-hmm. Because we talk about a number, and a number doesn't mean anything in retirement because it is individual. Mm-hmm. Why do we continue? Do financial services or even media do us a disservice by throwing out numbers that don't mean you can retire with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that they do, absolutely. And this study really proves that, and that's why we're always talking about a custom-tailored plan, because even though we may all live in Seattle and we're dealing with the same issues in certain ways, we have clients that come in that have retired and are traveling the world, and that's one of their goals. And we also have clients that have come in and they are more than happy to sit on the porch and watch the grass grow. And those are words taken from them, right? So
Amen.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
And there's a very different cost associated with those two things, right? Mm-hmm. And you may have a goal to retire and move to a different state and be back home with friends and family from that area that have a lower cost of living. And so that changes how much you need to have saved in your retirement. You might have a goal of moving to Hawaii for your retirement, which is going to cost more. And we have clients that have done that. Yeah. So it really is dependent. And that's why we're always talking about this custom tailored plan to make sure that you can have exactly what it is that you want in your retirement.
Scan the QR code, breaktheglassbook.com is yours. We'll send it out to you for free. This is the book, Trying to Figure Out How to Make You Through Retirement. So I go back to what you said, and goal sparks, it triggers me in my brain. We had a client whose goal was to. How many clients or people who are prospects coming in to be clients do not have a goal of what retirement looks like? The goal is, I want $1 million. What are you going to do with that? I don't know. How important is it in these meetings when people come in for this second opinion to say, what's your plan? Before we put together a plan, you have to have a plan for what lifestyle looks like beyond work, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In fact, I want to touch on this because this is something people come in and they'll bring their statements, right? And that's their plan, right? But we like to start pretty much our conversation with every client. If you had a blank canvas and you could paint anything, we got your pastels, your different brushes, everything you need to paint a picture. What do you want your retirement to look like? And that's where we want to start these conversations, because for us, it's a lot more about that than it is necessarily about the account size, right? Because without that piece of it, Brad, knowing where they might want to live, what do they want to do, how much traveling do they want to do, we can't really begin to factor in how long the money's going to last if we don't know answers to these type of questions. So that's really where we start. And the sad reality is most of the big box stores, they don't start with that. And we believe you have to, because without that, we can be making up numbers for them and tell them how long it's going to last and this and that. But that may or may not, to me, that's nonsense. We've talked about this. It's just numbers. And to me, they don't really mean anything because they may or may not work. And that's why a true plan and dealing with this up front is something we all should be thinking about.
Yeah, the math wins. So let's do the math on what you need to retire. Scan the QR code. Let's get the book in your hands. BreakTheGlassBook.com. It's yours free. Why wouldn't you want something that could help you through this? Scan the QR code. We'll send it out to you for free. Then you're going to want to call for a plan. 844-342-7142. It is also complimentary. It is a complimentary written financial plan that will say, what are your numbers? What do you need? Is it less than $1 million? Is it more than $1 million? Do I have what I need, and what are my goals? to retire the way I want to retire. 844-342-7142. Back after this.
We want to make sure that our employees feel great about working there. We have a wonderful Maggie up front. People love her. She is so good with clients, both when they come in and also when she's on the phone with them.
We've got Kelvin. Kelvin is a CPA, a paraplanner, really sharp guy, and just friendly. Everybody loves him. If you don't like Kelvin, it makes me question whether or not you're a good judge of character, right?
We're building a wonderful thing here, and that's our goal, is to really build a firm that can sustain itself even if Casey aren't there on a day-to-day basis, and that's really what our goal is. And it's been wonderful. Everybody loves working there. We love each other. We treat each other with love and respect, but we do have a lot of fun.
Glad you're with us on Elevate Your Wealth. Brad Johansson along with Mark and Casey. Elevated Financial Management is the spot that you want. They have put together the book. It is Break the Glass, so we'll send it out to you for free. It's why we've left this up all show long. Scan the QR code. We'll send it out for free. Why wouldn't you want something for free? Especially if it's going to help. You don't even have to talk to anybody, but you should. Here's what you do now. I want to talk about how this stuff changes, because we like to listen to the experts, right? Guys, let me give you, here's some Wall Street predictions of the future. In 2016, Trump was elected. Consensus from a few large financial firms was that the market would struggle. It would fall further from where it was at the time. Some predicted that the percentage points in the market would drop. How did that work out?
Yeah, all I would say to that is we know that that's what a lot of the talking heads were saying, right? Trump get elected, the market would tank. And it's done nothing but do this now for, you mentioned, almost a 15-year, bull rally. And so, again, this is why trying to predict things, we're in probably one of the most unpredictable times in human history when you really think about the volatility, the wars that are happening all over the world. We could go on and on. Inflation, what's going to happen there? Tariffs, how they've affected things. So again, this is why we believe so wholeheartedly on needing a plan, because we want to fireproof our clients' retirement so that they can deal with these type of things I just mentioned and not know that their money's just going to evaporate and they're not going to be able to live the type of retirement that they've dreamed about. And so, again, without a plan, all I would say to that is have fun, because it's going to be a tough road.
The opposite of that is true too, though, right? So we have folks calling for a downturn in the market, and the market has done phenomenal, and we see the exact opposite of that times. And somebody said to me once, a really smart individual, said, we were talking about this person that has a lot of, they predict the future of the markets a lot, right? We won't mention any names. But the response to me was, that person has predicted 8 of the last 2 market downturns. And I think that really is the case, right? There is always somebody saying the sky is falling. There's always somebody saying that the market's going to have phenomenal growth this year. There's always somebody saying that things are going to be flat and sideways. And the truth of it is, not a single one of them knows. No. Not one of the 3 of us knows. And that is why we do retirement planning. You mentioned the book, Brad, Break the Glass. The subheading of that book is Fireproofing Your Retirement. So why did we call it Break the Glass? What we found over the years helping people plan for their retirement is there's a sense of frantic when they come in to see us. They're concerned, they're worried, they don't know what to do, what decision to make first, and it's almost like they're in a fire. If you're in a fire, what do I save? What do I grab? How quickly can I do it? Can I grab something else? Whatever that is, and you have to flee to safety. And so the point here is that oftentimes in those high-stress situations, people fail to not only make a decision, but if they do, oftentimes they make the wrong one first. And the point of the book is you have got to take the action, you've got to break the glass, grab the fire extinguisher, and put that fire out. And it's the same with financial planning. We have got to start somewhere. We have got to put a plan in place so that when the world does get crazy, there's still confidence in our lives and in our retirements.
2022 was one of those first years that we had a problem. Stocks went down, bonds went down as well. Everybody was trying to figure it out. So the prediction there was at the end of 2022, we're going to have a hard landing into 2023. Market was 20 plus up. 2024, it was up 17 plus. You want a crystal ball. Nobody has a crystal ball on all of this. No matter how much you've studied all of this, how important, and how many times have we talked about dominoes already? The dominoes are in effect, that a plan doesn't work unless you have all of it working together. It is kind of putting together the puzzle, right? And yours doesn't look like anybody else's. So why are we desperate to know the future instead of being desperate to plan for whatever future may be out there?
I would love to talk about this more, but the reality is, Casey mentioned, we don't know what's going to happen. If we all could look into that glass ball and know what was going to happen, boy, planning would be, everybody would be doing it, and we'd all hit a home run every time, right? Or maybe a grand slam. But that's not reality, and so this type of environment is making hard for us as planners, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we do know that there's planning and techniques that can be used to help soften all the negatives that can happen, because either we didn't make a decision. A lot of people know what to do, but they're like a deer in the headlights. They're so worried if they make a decision, it could be the wrong one. And that's what we want to help them. You've got to take action at some point, because by not taking action, you are taking action, right? You're just doing nothing. And that's something that a lot of people, I think, fall that trap. They fall into, if they don't understand something, they just won't do anything.
Can a second opinion be quick, Case?
Oh, yeah, it can, right? But it really takes time to put these types of things together, right? I mean, we can have a quick conversation, but it takes time to put this together, and it's worth the time, right? You don't want somebody that's going to rush through this. You want somebody that's going to help you figure out what you want, when you want it, and the best way to accomplish those goals.
You may be one of those people that say, you know what, when I get scared, I do nothing. And doing nothing may cost you everything. So this is that time now to make the phone call to 844-342-7142. Is it worth your time for a second opinion? If that second opinion might make your money last for another 30 years into the retirement that you've always dreamed of, I haven't heard any of this stuff before, which is why we're here, to help you with a plan that's going to work for you. 844-342-7142. Grateful for your time here. Use some time for yourself. Make the call. See you in the office. And right back here next time on Elevate Your Wealth. Thanks for joining us.